Hello guys and welcome to the Premier League 2018-19 away day ground review. Now, what this is going to entail is, during the 2013-14 and 2014-15 season, when Hull City, that's the local team I support, when they was in the Premier League, I went on some trips to away grounds such as Manchester City's Etihad, Man United's Old Trafford, Liverpool's Anfield, and Brighton's Amex in the FA Cup, as it was in that time when Brighton won the Championship. I just want to share with you guys some of my experiences of the away grounds that I visit. So, I'm going to begin with, let's go right back to the beginning, where it all started for me for the away days trips. Manchester City's Etihad Stadium. That day, Hull City lost 2-0 to Man City, and it was only their second away game back in the Premier League. And yeah, that day was, well, like Man City, it was a great day as well. But for the ground, I enjoyed it. The atmosphere was brilliant. The fans of Hull City, who we were sat with, were brilliant. It was loud. We was always chanting. And for the ground, for the fans, well, it was brilliant. Like, you could see pretty much everything. You weren't like blocked off for no unknown reason. You was well looked after, I'd say, and also there was no real issues with anything else steward-wise, and obviously fans allocated tickets perfectly, I'd say. So Manchester City's Etihad is a ground that I'd say you recommend, because obviously it's a brilliant ground, and obviously at the minute it's home of the champions, so you'd want to go to the champions really if you're a newly promoted team. And then obviously around the ground, I don't think it's in a brilliant area, but it depends how you're viewing it, because if you're travelling as an away fan, you want to be like close to bars and pubs. I don't think there was that many bars and pubs from when we went, because this was back in 2013. But overall, Manchester City is a brilliant ground, and here's something to show you of an image of the ground itself, like when you go into the stadium. So, next up, I'm going to bring you the next away trip I went to, which was Everton and Goodison Park. Same again like Manchester City. Hull City lost that day, but that day was battering down with rain. I was sat pitch side. It was a horrible experience just because it was absolutely battering down with rain. The view was okay for a pitch side view, but it was just the rain, like, because that day it was absolutely thrashing down, and I mean it. It wasn't like just on and off rain, it was like constant thrashing down, heavy rain. But from this bit, I'm going to review the ground. Okay, obviously it's Stanley Park, you've got Goodison, obviously where we was, and then opposite here you've got, obviously Stanley Park, you've got Anfield. Car park wise, if you was to either go to Liverpool or Everton, you could park at either ground, so car park wise, you're sorted. Then you've got, obviously, there's a few good pubs around Goodison and Anfield, so you're sorted with that, because I mean, Liverpool's obviously a major city in the UK, so you can't complain about that. And yeah, Everton, apart from that, it was a decent ground. I just wish it wasn't raining that day, and again, Hull City lost, so it just tops off the rain really. But Everton, ticket allocations, I'd say were decent. It was just a shame I was on pitch side, because I'd rather like to be higher up and avoided the rain, because if you're on pitch side and it is raining, well, I'm sorry to say, but you are shafted, because, like I say, the roof at the back really. I'd say, yeah, ticketing, like I say, was decent. It was just that bit. Stewarding, I didn't think much of the stewarding at Everton. There was just like so unorganised. Like, if you wanted to solve a problem with them, they'd be like not sure sometimes, depending on what steward it is. But hey ho, and then like I said, the car park, you've either got Goodison or Anfield. depending on which game you're attending. But yeah, I'll leave you a picture of my view from Goodison Park from the inside. So the next one I'm going to move on to is Arsenal. Arsenal was really good. We were sat right at the back. The atmosphere was electric. Again, City lost that day 2-0. It was just can't win away really. And this was by Christmas at least. The ground was really good. Atmosphere was electric, as I say. For like bars and clubs, it was restricted because Emirates is on the motorway, you see, for Arsenal. So you couldn't really go to many places, but there was some places. And then, what do you call it? For like food, you had like loads of places for food, more than bars to be honest. But Arsenal, probably one of the best in the Premier League, because it's quite modern as well. So I'd recommend going to Arsenal by a mile. And then you've also got, like say, with it being on the motorway, you can easily jet off home straight away. No messing around. So Arsenal is one I recommend. And like say, there's plenty of like seats, so I wouldn't worry about like ticketing because that's not an issue. I think we took about 3,000 fans that day, and it was really good. So I'll leave you a picture of the view from Arsenal, but it is well worth it, definitely. So the next one I visited was Liverpool's Anfield. It's similar to Goodison Park because the way the ground laid out, it's quite old-fashioned, and again, there's not much really you can say when I've talked about Everton's Goodison. It's just across the park really. So this one might just be short, but again, like Goodison, I was sat on pitch side, so not a good experience, but it wasn't raining, which was the plus this time. But yeah, really Liverpool's Anfield is pretty much similar to Goodison's. Same aspect of like say pubs and bars. You'll be able to find a lot of pubs and bars in Liverpool because like say it's a big city, and then you've got like say ticketing for fans and stuff. You sorted really. It's just the stewards lack of common sense really, which is all I can say. But if you want to go to Liverpool or Everton, then I suggest getting a higher view than we was, because like I say the views they're okay, but it's just not convenient if in case it rains. So it's up to you where you want to sit, but me I'd go higher up if I'm being honest. But car park issue again. If you go into Anfield, you sort for car park, unless you want to try walking across from Stanley Park at Goodison, it's up to you. But car park shouldn't be a problem really, similar to Everton. But I'll leave you a picture, like I say again, with the view from Anfield. But it's similar to Goodison, pitch side view really. And we were sat with Liverpool fans this time for some reason, don't know why, but you know. So we sat next to the old fans, but the atmosphere, it was kind of quiet, as just because I was sat with Liverpool fans, but the fans were brilliant. It was just a shame I wasn't with them really. But there's a picture from Anfield of the view. So the next one, it is Brighton's Amex. I love the stadium because it's quite new. The only downside of Brighton was because I'm from Hull. It took about 7 hours. It was an FA Cup match this time because Brighton were in the Championship back in 2014, and pretty much I think we set off at 11:30, got there for about 6, and that's including 2 service breaks. And then because it was a night game, didn't get back in my own bed till about 5:30. Got back home at 5:15, but then I had to sort my stuff out, which was a bit of a ball ache. And then for Brighton, really, really good view. Like I say, it's quite modern. I think it was, don't quote me if I'm wrong, but 2011, I think. But the ground is perfect. There isn't many pubs and bars because it's a small city, it's Brighton. There wasn't much you could do really. We had to just loiter around the ground. But unless people can find different places when they visit Brighton, I don't know. But the only downside with Brighton is it's a fair trek away distance-wise. Like say, set for 11:30, get there for 6, and then get on for 5:30 on a night match. So imagine what it's going to be like on a daytime. It's just a long day really, a long journey. But a good ground, definitely good. Stewards are a lot better than they are at Liverpool and Everton. And ticketing, as I say, we had a good view. So I reckon if you went to Brighton, you would as well, really. It's really good. You're right on the pitch pretty much. And even if you went pitch side, you'd be amazed. It's a good view, I reckon. Because we was at the back. It's just like, say, when you're in Brighton, you can't find any pubs, but unless you can find somewhere that I didn't see. But Brighton, really good ground. Car park was good. You're right next to the stadium, so no problems there. But as I say, it's just that distance travel really. But I recommend Brighton. Even if you're near, try it. Because, I tell you, I loved it. Just the journey. But here's a picture from Brighton. So, next up on the list, I went to Man United. Been to United loads of times. Grand finals, and a few trips with Hull City, even like the League Cup just recently in 2017 in the League Cup semi-final. I love Old Trafford. Brilliant ground. Stewards are perfect. Car park's really good. Even the food at Old Trafford's perfect. Let's just say that. You're with the Hull City fans, the away fans, on a really good view. You're not on pitch side. You're high up, but it's not too high compared to Newcastle's ground, which I'll talk about soon. Old Trafford, Manchester United. You've got a very good view. You can see everything, even at the high view, because it's not too high. Old Trafford, I know I like Man City, but Old Trafford's up there with one of the favourite grounds of mine. Just because of what I've just said, stewarding, view, ticketing, everything. I loved going to Old Trafford, and that's why I keep going really. Because Old Trafford, you just sorted. It's pretty much like Emirates, but an old-fashioned Emirates really. That's the best way I can put it. Pubs and bars, you sorted as well. There's a few pubs and bars around Old Trafford. Really good pricing, so what more can you ask for in Old Trafford? It's just, like I said, ticketing, pricing, depends what you go for, like category wise, because sometimes if you want to go high up, they'll charge you extra. But if you want to go like lower upper tier, if that makes sense, you'll be sorted. So I'd recommend the lower tier. But here's my view from Old Trafford, and as I say, I recommend Old Trafford very highly. So next up on the list is Newcastle, which is actually where I've just come from the Dacia Magic Weekend. Newcastle's brilliant, but the view for Newcastle, for rugby, it was brilliant, but for football, it's shocking. And I'm only saying that because that Leeds stand where we was for the rugby, we was in the lower tier. If you go for football like I was, when Modiame scored that brilliant goal in that 2-2 draw in the 2014-15 season, you can't see really much, and I'm being honest. It's like looking at dot-to-dot book. That's what it felt like. Even my friends I went with said that for football. For rugby, you're in the lower tier of the Leeds end. It's perfect, but for the upper tier, it's poor. I was sat right at the back. I'm not even joking. Sat on Rose Ed, because that's what my ticket said. I was like, are you kidding me? But I don't know how to explain it. If you want to go to the ground, it's perfect for the city centre. It's right in the city centre. It's just the view. The view put you off. Because when I show the view at the end of this review for Newcastle, you'll see what I mean. It was like a dot-to-dot book. What I was looking at, not players, not actual people. A dot-to-dot book. But everything else, car park, And I remember this just because it was a couple of days ago I went for rugby. Loads of car parks. 6-hour stays, 12-hour stays, 24-hour stays for like £3 at minimum to £10 at best. You sorted. Pubs, bars, everywhere in Newcastle. Just because it's in the city centre, St James's Park, you'd have to travel far. And that, for one, is just recommended at the best. Because here at KC Stadium in Hull, I know there's pubs and bars scattered across Hull, but for the city centre at Newcastle and Hull, Newcastle's just a winner. Because the stadium is literally everywhere. And even if you stay the night, hotels are around St James's Park. So you're sorted, really. Pubs, bars, takeaways, all sorts, hotels, you name it, Newcastle's got it. I recommend it. It's just football. In fact, I'll show you 2 pictures, one from rugby and one for the football of my view. And you'll see the difference, big time. But I recommend Newcastle just because if you like the atmosphere was good that day in that draw. And it obviously was at rugby, just the weekend gone. It's totally worth it. But if you like looking at a dot-to-dot book, fair enough, but if you don't, it's a decision you'll have to make, because that's where they put the away fans in the upper tier at the Leazes End. But here's the view from rugby and the football at Newcastle St James's Park. And then finally, of the Premier League ground review, we've got Huddersfield John Smith Stadium. When I went, it was for the rugby, because I've not been for football, but for rugby, yeah, it's obviously a similar atmosphere. So, and it's the same ground, because Huddersfield Town and Huddersfield Giants share the Galpam, as it is now, to John Smith Stadium. So, yeah, here's the review. The ground, it was okay. It wasn't a 10 out of 10, I'd say 6 or 7. The view was okay, but stewarding, it was decent. It was just, there's not much around Huddersfield like I mentioned in Newcastle St James's Park. It's very hilly, as is Newcastle, I forgot to mention that, but there's not really much around the Galpam Stadium, really, and that's being honest. So, I don't know what more I can really say on that. It's just the atmosphere, not the atmosphere, the view was decent. And that's really it for the Galpam, because car park, yeah, you can get a car park, but because it's next to the stadium, but there ain't like many pubs and bars and places to eat, really. Galpam, it's just the ground and that's it. But yeah, that's the Galpam, really. So that concludes the Premier League 18-19 Stadium Away Day review. That's just a simple guide, really, for anyone who wants to go to any of the grounds that I've just mentioned. So, I'd say Man City is definitely up there on my recommendations. Same with the Amex of Brighton, Old Trafford, Man United, and then obviously Emirates is by far the leading stadium in the Premier League. I've also been to Villa Park, but I don't want to comment on Villa just yet ahead of their playoff final. But if Villa do, then I'd say Villa Park is okay. It's an 8 out of 10. The city centre is right next to Villa Park. It's just a 2-minute drive, because I've been to Birmingham for the Rita Ora concert and we drove past Villa Park. But overall, yeah, Villa Park's okay. But Emirates, like I say, the superior Premier League ground, it's just perfect. And then Goodison Park of Everton and Anfield Liverpool, I don't think much to it, really. But that is my overall thoughts on the grounds in the Premier League for next season. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe. And if you do go to any of these grounds, hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. But as I say, please remember to subscribe, it'd be appreciated. And guys, thank you for watching this. I'll see you soon. I'm out.